What's up, golf fans? It's Scott from the Fantasy Boutique here with another installment of Under Par. During this segment, we're going to recap last week's WGC-Mexico event, as well as giving you my 4x4 plays for this week's Valspar Championship. My 4x4 plays are 4 golfers who I will make up a portion of my core plays for lineup construction on FanDuel and DraftKings, as well as 4 golfers who are value targets. Are guys that I feel are flying under the radar this week, trending in the right direction, heading into the Valspar, or players whose skill sets I feel fit the course set up at the Copperhead course at Innisbrook. First things first, let's get some house cleaning issues out of the way. Give this video a like, a share, so that we can get the Fantasy Boutique name out there. Secondly, subscribe to Fantasy Boutique page to be notified of any PGA, NASCAR, any other DFS videos that are recorded and uploaded. Check me out on Twitter, Boutique PGA, to get some picks, plays, guys I like this week, just stuff like that. Recap of last week's WGC-Mexico event. The number 1,687. Why is that number significant? It's the number of calendar days between 47-year-old Phil Mickelson's last 2 tour victories. Before Sunday's final round of the WGC Mexico, where we've seen Phil Mickelson defeat Justin Thomas in the sudden death playoff, finish at 16 under par. His last victory on tour was July 21st, 2013. Now, Phil tried to make it interesting after gaining control of the lead on the start of the back 9 on Sunday. He had bogeyed the par 5 11th hole, which was impressive that he didn't come away with something bigger than that. He found a rough on his tee shot, and he tried to go for the green in 2, and his approach shot ended up in, it was some brush, trees, shrubbery. I don't know what the hell it was. The camera panned to him, and you couldn't even see him in there. His 3rd shot came out of there, still found the rough, and then his 4th shot he put within, 10 feet, missed the par putt, and ended up escaping with bogey. He then birdied the 15th and 16th holes to get the 16 under, and then he parred out the rest of the way to force a playoff. Justin Thomas, who he defeated in a playoff, he went crazy on the weekend. He was interviewed after the round, and he says, if you'd asked me after Friday if I would have thought I would be in a playoff, he thought he'd be kidding himself. He went 62, 64 on the weekend, and that included holing out on the 18th hole from the fairway for an eagle. Shabankar Sharma, who was the 54-hole leader, and a young golfer from India, faded on Sunday, card to 74. Finished for a tie for 9th. Back to Phil for a second. Just how good was he this weekend? Besides the fact that he was 4th, it was his 4th top 10 finish in his last 4 tournaments. He gained 7.4 strokes on the rest of the field putting, which was 3rd best in the tournament behind Rafa Cabrera-Bello and Brian Harman. He made 65 of 69 putts inside of 10 feet. He only hit 50 of 72 greens, but he was 80% scrambling. He was 18 for 22 getting up and down for, the times that he did miss the green. As for me personally, in the DF side of things this past weekend, I, kind of avoided playing much DFS this week. It's nice getting to watch, some of the best talented golfers in the world play for all 4 rounds. I just don't like it for DFS purposes. There's no cut. Guys just tend to score low, or, if they have a bad first round, get pretty far behind, and they pretty much just pack it in for the week because they know that they're getting a paycheck no matter what. However, some of the plays I did mention last week fared pretty well. Sergio Garcia was a T12. He's at 12 under par, and he was in the hunt pretty much all weekend. Adam Hadwin, he finished T9 at 10 under, and he got himself into contention on Sunday with a 66. Tommy Fleetwood put together a solid Sunday card in a 66 to finish at 9 under and a tie for 12th. And lastly, Xander Schauffele. He entered the final round pretty much right in the thick of things at 10 under. And he shot a 74 on the weekend, or on Sunday, to finish the final round at 7 under, tied for 18th. So on to this week, we head back to the Sunshine State of Florida for the Valspar Championship, played at the Copperhead course at Innisbrook, where Adam Hadwin looks to defend his title, where he bested Patrick Cantlay by 1 stroke last year at 14 under par, which just so happened to be Patrick Cantlay's pretty much coming out party for the tour. I'm a big fan of this course just for the simple fact that it's unconventional. It's not too often that you see a par 71 course on tour with 5 par 3s. And then in addition to the 5 par 3s, there's 4 par 5s. So you're not going to be weighting par 4 scoring or birdie or better as much as you would on these courses that are less than par 72. Just because of the fact that 9 of the 18 holes are either par 3s or par 5s. The Copperhead course, as I mentioned, is a par 71. It plays 7,300 yards. It's known for its narrow fairways. It's hard to hit greens, even though the actual size of the greens in relation to tour standards are actually fairly large at 7,500 square feet. You can't overpower this course. So once again, you're going to see a lot of golfers going less than driver to, find the fairway and avoid the tree line, or avoid the trees that line the fairways. The greens are Tiff Eagle Bermuda, and as I mentioned, they're pretty large by tour standards at 7,500 square feet, but they're hard to hit, as evidenced by the average of 62% in green regulation percentage. They're typically average speed of running between 11 and 12 on a stimp meter. The course is demanding. It makes golfers navigate their way around the course and challenges them with dog legs, tight landing areas, strategically placed bunkers, and there's, I think, water on 5 of the holes. From 2013 to 2016, the course averaged the 7th hardest course on tour. It played a little bit easier last year, where it was the 17th toughest, but they pretty much had perfect conditions. The wind, didn't kick up as much as it has in previous years. The Copperhead course is most renowned for its closing 3 holes, nicknamed the Snake Pit. The 16th hole is a par 4, 475-yard hole that's nicknamed the Moccasin. The 17th is a 215-yard par 3 nicknamed the Rattler. And the closing hole, the 18th, is a 443-yard par 4 nicknamed the Copperhead. Over the last 5 years, those holes have played almost 194 strokes over par each year. You're not going to see a lot of eagles. I think the course in total, even though there's 4 par 5s, I think it averages maybe 14 eagles per year. As for key stats I'm looking for this week, as always, strokes gained tee to green, strokes gained putting, birdie or better percentage, and bogey avoidance. In addition, I'm going to look at some strokes gained ball striking, as it's important to find the fairway off the tee and have an above average approach game. Good drive percentage is also important. It's all about finding the fairways and or hitting the greens and regulations. With the tree line fairways, I'm going to look at scrambling, as big numbers can pile up if you're off the fairway in the pine trees. Over 30% of the shots fall between approach shots fall between 175 and 200 yards. But approach shots in general are distributed pretty equally between 100 and 200 yards. So you can look at average proximity, or if you want to get more in depth, proximity between 175 and 200 yards. With the course having 5 par 3s and 4 par 5s, par 3 scoring or birdie or better percentage, and par 5 scoring or birdie or better percentage, play a bigger role. So I look at those statistics. If you want to dig a little deeper, all 5 of the par 3s play in the neighborhood of 200 to 225 yards. There's a little leeway, 15 yards difference. Hole 4 is 195 yards. Hole 8 is 235 yards. And then all 4 of the par 5s are going to play between 550 and 600 yards, with the exception of the par 5 5th, which plays 605 yards. So you can look at the efficiency scores in those ranges, to help sway you from one golfer to another, or, make it a deciding factor of who you want to play. As for the picks this week, we'll start with 4 golfers who will make up a portion of my core group of golfers that will use for the bulk of my lineup construction. First golfer is Jordan Spieth. He's 12,400 on FanDuel, 11,800 on DraftKings. His odds to win a tournament are 8.5 to 1. Spieth is looking as though he's starting to come into his zone. He's coming in on the heels of a 14th place finish at the WGC-Mexico. In fact, 5 of his last 6 tournaments have resulted in top 20 finishes, with one missed cut mixed in there. He's a borderline course horse when you look at his course form at Copperhead. He's got 4 appearances from 2013 to 2016, with finishes of 7th, 20th, a victory in 2015, and an 18th place finish in 2016. Spieth has been struggling with the putter, but he might have found something when you're looking at the weekend in Mexico. In rounds 3, gained 1.48 strokes round 3 gained 1.5 strokes on the field, and in round 4 he lost, just a little over a tenth of a stroke to the field. For comparison's sakes, he lost 1.2 strokes in round 1 and 1.48 strokes in round 2. So if he has figured something out, it's coming at a perfect time as he gets tuned up for Augusta the first week in April. If you can't fit Spieth into your lineup comfortably, I also like Henrik Stenson, who's priced a little bit cheaper. Stats for Spieth: he's 2nd in bogey avoidance, 3rd in strokes gained tee to green, 3rd in scrambling, 7th in par 5 scoring, 9th in average proximity, and 9th in par 5 birdie or better percentage. Next up is Adam Hadwin. He is 10,200 on FanDuel, 8,800 on DraftKings. Odds to win the tournament at 35 to 1. Can Hadwin defend his title this year? Historically, it's been very tough to defend your title at an event unless you're somebody like Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, or in his prime Tiger. But Hadwin's trending in the right direction as he heads into Innisbrook this week. He's coming off a T9 last week at WGC Mexico. And then he also has 2 other top 10 finishes in his last 5 events. He has a T6 at the Genesis Open and a T3 at the Career Builder. Outside of his win last year, he's missed the cut and has a 71st place finish in his 2 other appearances at the Valspar. He's yet to miss a cut, though, this year, so I kind of feel safe running him out there in cash games as well. Coming off a title here last year, he's probably going to be a little chalky, so I don't mind playing some chalk, but you just have to differentiate your lineups other places to get those lower owned guys in. He's got a plus 11 rating, odds versus ranked. He's a 20th ranked player in the field, but he's the 9th best odds to win the tournament. He's priced, for the most part, he's priced accurately across both sites. He's got a plus 6 rating on FanDuel, and he's got a plus 2 rating on DraftKings. Stats: he's 16th in proximity, 175 to 200 yards. Like I mentioned last week, he doesn't really do one thing really great that's going to rank him in the top 15, 20 in the field as far as statistical categories. He just does a lot of things very good. Next golfer is Benny On. He is 9,400 on FanDuel, 8,400 on DraftKings. Odds to win the tournament, 35-1. Benny only has one career appearance here at the Valspar, and he had a 48, which was a 49th place finish last year. He's trending in the right direction. He's got a T23 at the Waste Management and a T5 2 weeks ago at the Honda Classic, where he gained over 6 strokes on the field in approach shots. And he got almost 9 strokes total tee to green. He has one of the highest odds versus ranks in the field with a plus 28. He enters with the 37. He's the 37th ranked golfer in the field. He's got the 9th best odds. He's underpriced on both sites, odds versus pricing, but he's a better play on FanDuel, where he owns a plus 18 rating. Stats for Benny: he's second in the field, strokes gained, ball striking, 5th par 5 birdie or better. He's 8th in par 5 efficiency between 550 and 600 yards, and he's 9th in par 5 scoring average. The last golfer in my core group is going to be Luke List. He's $9,000 on FanDuel, 7,800 on DraftKings. Odds to win the tournament, 55-1. For a guy that I once viewed as only a bomber or a scorer, he's an overall erratic golfer. He's been very consistent this year. Still looking for his first career victory, but if he keeps playing like he has been in the 2018 season, it's not going to take him long, or he's going to find one eventually. He lost in the playoff 2 weeks ago to Justin Thomas at the Honda Classic. Finished T26 at the Genesis, T26 at the Waste Management, and the T12 at the Farmers Insurance in his last 4 events. Overall for the 2018 season, he's made 8 of 11 cuts, and 5 of those made cuts have resulted in top 25 finishes. He's only made the cut 1 of 3 times at the Valspar, but it was a 27th place finish last year. He owns plus 17 rating, odds versus rank, 33rd ranked golfer in the field. He's got the 16th best odds. He's underpriced on both sites. He owns a plus 26 rating on FanDuel and a plus 16th rating on DraftKings. Stats for the list: he's 12th in the field, birdie or better percentage, 12th in par 5, birdie or better percentage, 13th in strokes gained tee to green, and he's 13th in par 5 efficiency between 550 and 600 yards. Now, on to my value plays. Guys that I think are flying under the radar, trending in the right direction, or just, fit this course good. First guy is Tiger Woods. He's 9,700 on FanDuel, 9,500 on DraftKings. Odds to win the tournament, 30-1. He's not really a value play in my opinion, but I couldn't resist not talking about him this week. He's a pure GPP play at this point, because he could easily just as easily go out and miss the cut as he could be finishing top 10 or better. He's trending in the right direction. He's coming off of 12th place finish at the Honda Classic, which was on a very tough golf course. He had a T23 in his first appearance of the year at the Farmers Insurance Open, and then he missed the cut at the Genesis. He actually led the field in proximity at the Honda Classic. His distance control seems to be back. He's always been an elite putter. If he can just be average compared to the field off the tee and around the greens this week, he can contend, which I think is a distinct possibility because, as I mentioned before, this is a less than driver course. If he keeps a driver in the bag, goes with the 3-wood or long irons off the tee, I think he can contend. By a large margin, he has a plus 113 rating, odds versus rank, and it's probably the Tiger effect. It doesn't matter what his, world golf rank is when he tees it up in an event. He's, probably going to be the top 10, 15 best odds to win the tournament. He's got a plus 12 rating on FanDuel, where I view him as a better play. He's the 20th price golfer in the field. He's got the 8th best odds. Stats for Tiger, he's 9th strokes gained putting, 11th in average proximity, and he's 15th in strokes gained short game, which is a combination of strokes gained putting and the strokes gained around the green. Next golfer is Steve Stricker. He's 9,300 on FanDuel, 7,500 on DraftKings. Odds to win the tournament at 66 to 1. The 51-year-old Stricker is coming in off a victory at the Color Guard Classic on the PGA Champions Tour last week. Even though he's playing with the old guys on the Champions Tour, I think he can still compete with the young guns on the PGA Tour. He's played in 2 events in the 2018 season. He's got a T26 and a T31 in those events. Since 2007, he's made the cut 4 of 6 times here. He's got a missed cut in 2007 and again last year in 2017. All 4 of those made cuts have resulted in top 15 finishes here. He's got a plus 29 rating, odds versus rank, 55th ranked golfer in the field, 26th best odds. And then he owns a plus 6 rating on both sites for odds versus pricing. Stats for Stricker, he's 1st in the field in scrambling, 2nd in par 3 scoring average, 4th in average proximity, and 4th in bogey avoidance. Third golfer, Kevin Streelman. He's 8,800 on FanDuel, 7,500 on DraftKings. Odds to win the tournament at 60 to 1. Streelman's really just been Mr. Consistent this year. He's 10 of 10 made cuts on the year, with half of them being top 25 finishes. He's got a T41 at the Genesis Open in his last tournament, and a 6th place finish the week before that at Pebble Beach. Streelman was actually the 2013 winner here at Valspar, so we know he can navigate around the course. Since 2012, he's got 5 of 6 made cuts with 3 top 20 finishes. Streelman owns a plus 36 rating, odds versus rank. He's a 56th ranked golfer in the field, 20th best odds. He's a great play on both sites, as evidenced by a plus 27 rating on FanDuel and a plus 20 rating on DraftKings odds versus pricing. Stats for Streelman, he's 1st in the field, bogey avoidance, 2nd in scrambling, 3rd in good drive percentage, 7th in strokes gained tee to green, and he's 9th in strokes gained ball striking. The last guy I'm going to talk about is Harris English. He's 8,100 on FanDuel, 7,000 on DraftKings. Odds to win the tournament at 100 to 1. Harris was actually really hot 2 months ago. He had a T11 at the Career Builder, and then the following week he had a T8 at the Farmers Insurance. That's when you're seeing a little bit of buzz in the DFS world, and everybody kind of jumped on him thinking he was going to break through with a victory. Then proceeded to miss the cut the next 2 events, the Waste Management and the Genesis. He's since rebounded with the T23 at the Honda Classic. At the Valspar since 2012, he's made 6 appearances. He's made 4 cuts with finishes of 7th, 38th, 10th, and 27th last year. He owns a plus 44 rating, odds versus rank. He's the 86th ranked golfer in the field. He's got the 42nd best odds, and he's got an almost equally impressive plus 42 rating on DraftKings odds versus pricing, where he's the 74th ranked golfer or price golfer in the field compared to the 42nd best odds. Stats for Harris English, he's 13th in the field, par 5 scoring. Once again, my picks this week: Jordan Spieth, Adam Hadwin, Benny Ann, Luke List for my core plays. And in my value plays are Tiger Woods, Steve Stricker, Kevin Streelman, and Harris English. Thank you all for tuning in to the Under Par show presented by the Fantasy Boutique. The Fantasy Boutique, we tailor your game like a winner. Fantasy Boutique, daily fantasy sports designed by winners. Give Fantasy Boutique a follow on Twitter, DFS Boutique. In addition, come check us out at dfsboutique.com. The crew over there has been working really hard the last few weeks, redesigned the website to give it a more sleek, modern look. We're now offering PGA packages, NASCAR packages for the remainder of the year. The packages are $69.99 for each sport. It's actually a pretty good bargain when you consider there's still 26 PGA Tour events left between the Tour Championship, and then there's roughly 34, 35 NASCAR races left as the NASCAR season is just getting underway. Unsure about the season package? Come check us out. $10 a week gets you a weekly, the weekly package. The PGA season package gets you access to our weekly course and tournament overview, course form and current form breakdown, odds versus pricing and ranking model, the weekly cheat sheet with all the stats you need for the weekly tournament, cash and GPP rankings, as well as further insight into my player pool and guys that I'm looking at this week. It also gets you access into our Slack site where all the talking heads are discussing PGA, NASCAR, and some other DFS sports. Members only PGA live show is going to be rolling out in a couple weeks where I'll be available on Wednesday nights. Pre-lock to help with lineup construction, talk about, a little bit more in depth about the golfers and who I like and who I don't like each week. So once again, thank you guys for watching. I'll be back next week as we tee it up at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. So see you later.